On our wedding anniversary, my husband took me and our daughter to an amusement park. Midway through our day, he was suddenly called away by an urgent phone call. To my horror, the roller coaster malfunctioned, leaving my daughter stranded with me high above. Clutching her trembling body, I called her father over and over, 99 times, before he answered at last. My voice was hoarse as I pleaded for help, but instead of his worried response, what reached my ears was the sound of muffled, intimate breathing. Then, after a pause, a woman's voice came through the speaker. "Rodney, back then, when you chose to give up Freya's son in order to save our child, I was truly moved. I have nothing else to give you, except my body." There was a brief silence before Rodney Loran answered, his tone low. "I promised you, I would protect our child at all costs. As for Freya's son, he never should have survived in the first place." At that moment, my tears spilled uncontrollably. For years, D carried the guilt of losing my son when he was 3, but now I knew, he hadn't gone missing at all. Rodney had sacrificed him, to save the son of his precious first love. With the last of my strength, I dialed Max in Sheffield's number. "I'll marry you, but I want you to destroy the Lawrence, especially Rodney." A low, satisfied laugh came through the line. "Sure, nothing would please me more." After hanging up the phone, I clutched my daughter in my arms. Just then, Rodney's phone rang again. I answered it without saying a word. "Rodney," a woman's voice came through. "I saw the news. There seems to have been an accident at the amusement park Freya and her daughter went to. Do you want to go check on them?" Rodney's voice on the other end was completely indifferent. "You still have the energy to worry about things like that? Seems I didn't tire you out enough. Besides, those two aren't fools." I'm guessing the moment I left, they were no longer in the mood to have fun. I could the sound of the woman kissing him. It was then that I finally recognized her voice. Harper Driscoll, Rodney's ex. Back when the Lawrence business went bankrupt, Harper didn't hesitate to leave the States. And I gave up my arranged marriage with Maxon to marry Rodney, who at the time had nothing to his name. For 10 years, he treated me like a treasure. I truly believed we were happy. But in reality, before I knew it, my husband's heart had long since changed. Tears streamed down my face. Farah, my daughter, must have sensed my pain because she reached up to gently touch my cheek. On the other end of the line, Harper kept talking. I covered my daughter's ears, and with a heart cold as ash, I kept listening. "Rodney," she asked sweetly, "if our son were to have another accident, would you save him again?" I remember Freya still has a daughter left. My chest tightened sharply. Harper had already been the cause of my son's death, and now she had her sights set on my daughter too. To the hospital checkup, I took my daughter home. Once I'd settled her in, I went upstairs to start gathering our documents. That was when I suddenly heard a voice behind me. "Freya, what are you doing?" I paused for a heartbeat, forcing down the wave of hatred in my chest, and answered evenly, "I'm packing our documents." Rodney didn't sense anything amiss. As always, he stepped forward and wrapped his arms around me from behind. I hadn't expected it and couldn't dodge in time. His embrace closed around me completely, but the moment the scent of Harper's perfume, so distinctly hers, hit my nose, I nearly gagged. He didn't notice my stiff reaction and went on speaking as if nothing were wrong. "Freya, I'm just so relieved you and our daughter are safe. I never imagined something would happen at the amusement park. If I had known, no matter how urgent work was, I would never have left you two behind." His tone carried lingering fear, his words spoken with such conviction. But knowing truth, I felt nothing at all. I lifted my gaze to him. Rodney's expression was as gentle as ever. These arms had once been a safe harbor for me and my daughter. Now, they were the very weapon poised to destroy us. The thought made me lower my eyes. Without a trace of emotion, I slipped his arm away from my waist. "It's fine. Your work is important. My daughter and I are safe." Rodney, long accustomed to my understanding nature, frowned slightly and put on a show of pained sincerity. "How could work ever be more important than you and our daughter? I honestly don't know. If, after losing our son, I were to lose you too as well, how could I go on living?" At the mention of our dead son, I couldn't stop the flash of hatred that passed through my eyes. Before I could speak, his phone rang. He pulled it out, glanced at the screen, and gave me a smile. "It's someone from the company. I'll step outside to take this call." I nodded calmly, though my nails dug so deep into my palm that they blood. When he raised the phone, I caught the name flashing on the screen, exactly as I expected. It was Harper. From outside came his hurried, anxious voice. For some reason, my stomach tightened with unease. A moment later, he stormed back in, eyes blazing, and without warning, he slapped me hard across the face. "Why did you lay a hand on Harper? She's pregnant right now. If anything happens to her, I'll make you pay with your life." I clutched my cheek, staring at him in utter disbelief. The moment he saw the mark blooming across my skin, he froze. Something flickered in his eyes, something complicated. He reached out, as if to touch my face, but before his fingers could graze my skin, the phone rang again. He gave me one long, heavy look, and then he turned and walked out. I bolted downstairs, intent on grabbing my daughter and leaving this hell. But I hadn't even reached the front door before Rodney caught me, his grip on my arm like iron. Without a word, he dragged me and Farah toward the car. No matter how hard she cried, he refused to let go. By the time I snapped out of my daze, we had already arrived at the same amusement park we went to on our anniversary. The roller coaster, still hanging midair from the earlier accident, remained unfixed. In one swift motion, Rodney wrenched my daughter out of my arms. "Tell me where Harper is," he growled, "or you'll regret it." Clutching my daughter tightly, he boarded a helicopter. As it rose higher and higher, my heart lurched. And then, without a shred of hesitation, he placed Farah back into that same faulty roller coaster. She had already been traumatized by it once. Now, she wailed uncontrollably. Her cries tore through me, each sob shredding my chest. Watching the roller coaster sway slightly under his manipulation, I could barely breathe. "I don't know anything, Rodney," I screamed hoarsely. "I don't care who kidnapped Harper. Just put my daughter down now." I was nearly hysterical, but the tender, doting F.A. there from earlier was gone. In his place stood a cold, unfeeling man, his expression like stone as he deliberately rocked the car. "I'll give you 10 seconds, he said flatly, "and I'll keep shaking it harder each time I count." True to his word, he increased the force. I stared at my daughter, her sobs breaking into hiccups, my nails digging deep into my palms. He showed us no mercy, none at all. My chest ached so violently I thought I might faint. Seeing her tiny body tremble, her cries nearly turning into convulsions, my tears finally spilled over. "Rodney, I truly don't know. I have no idea where Harper is. Please, just bring our daughter down. She can't take this anymore." My plea didn't move him in the slightest. He simply kept counting, voice as cold as steel. 8. Just earlier, at home, he had apologized for what happened on the roller coaster. And now, because of Harper, he had become the executioner, personally threatening us. I broke into a scream. "Rodney, go check. Look at the surveillance footage. I didn't kidnap Harper. Please, let Farah go. She's your child too. She's about to collapse. I'm begging you, please." I even dropped to my knees in desperation, but he didn't so much as glance at me. The cold, relentless countdown continued. I couldn't take it anymore. I scrambled toward the roller coaster, trying to climb up. He watched me with icy detachment. Just as the countdown neared its end, my fingers brushed the edge of Farah's car. My heart leapt. I reached out without a thought for my own safety, desperate to pull her free. But in the next instant, Rodney yanked me back onto the helicopter, and, with a sharp crack, he slapped me hard across the face. "Are you insane? Climbing that high, what if you fell?" For a brief moment, his eyes betrayed a flicker of worry, but I could no longer believe in him. Gripping his sleeve, I choked out, "I'm begging you, Rodney, do whatever you want to me. Blame me for kidnapping Harper if you must. Just let her go. I'll take Farah's place in that car if that's what you want." He gripped my sleeve tightly, roaring, "For the sake of that bastard you had with Maxon, you'd even throw away your life? Then why did you marry me?" With that, he shoved me toward one of his bodyguards. "I won't let that bastard live. You'd better tell me where Harper is, or else, I'll make that bastard pay with her life." I thrashed against their hold, tears streaming freely. "I really don't know. After we got off the roller coaster, we went straight home. I never had the chance to kidnap Harper. Farah's your daughter, Rodney. You can do a DNA test if you don't believe me, but please, let her go now," I wailed, throwing my dignity into the dirt for him to trample. And still, he refused to believe me. I had thought, even if Rodney had no love left for me, he would never harm our daughter. But the next second, he replied without hesitation, "When that time comes, I won't think twice. I promised you, only our son can be the H.E.I.R. Delight filled Harper's voice, though she feigned concern. "But, if Freya ever found out, wouldn't she hate you?" Rodney paused briefly before answering coldly, "She won't hate me. Those 2 children are my due. She owes them to me. Back then, she was the one who climbed into Maxon's bed first. If both those children die, so much the better. I'll never divorce her. She'll remain my wife forever. I've already been generous enough to her," he added. The moment his words ended, I heard the unmistakable sounds of intimacy on the other end. In that instant, I finally understood why Rodney had done everything he'd done. My eyes burned, my vision swimming red, hatred clawing at me until I could barely breathe. I wanted nothing more than to tear Rodney and Harper to pieces. When the Lawrence fell into crisis, my family wasn't powerful enough to save them. It was I who went to Maxon, clinging to the remnants of our old feelings. Maxon agreed to invest in the Lawrence Company, on the sea, on condition that I spend a day with him. When I told Rodney, he only smiled, patted my head, and said gently, "I trust you. Besides, you're doing this for me. I'll never let you down for the rest of my life." So this was his idea of never letting me down. From that day on, he saw me as tainted. He even began to doubt whether the twins were truly his. The thought made my stomach churn. I ended the call without a shred of hesitation. I knew full well it had been Harper calling. And yet, I still felt a twisted kind of gratitude. At least she'd laid all the truth bare for me. A few minutes later, she sent a barrage of taunting messages, along with photos of her in bed with Rodney. I saved every single one, studying them until I could see every detail clearly. Not long after, my phone notified me of a text from Maxon. "7 days from now, I'll come to get you. Hang in there for another 3 minutes. The rescue team will be in the amusement park soon." Reading that made me finally let out a sigh of relief. I had survived from 1,000 meters in the air. Now, the ones who should die, it'd be Rodney and Harper.